All right, Josh, we got recording in progress. We want to sometimes late afternoon. It's not late. It's like 3 o'clock. I get a little bit low energy, but we want to come in guns blazing. We gotta really talk about this important stuff, which is you and your classroom and Pickcode and how that's all fit together. So you teach in New York City somewhere, and so where and what do you teach? And yeah, maybe a little intro to you would be great.
Yeah, so I'm Joshua. I teach AP Computer Science A the past few years at a high school in Brooklyn, FDR High School. We started our CS program probably like 2016 or so, and then we progressed and started to build up to get a strong number of students that take AP Computer Science. Principals we have AP CSA. This year I'm working with about 60 plus students, two groups.
Nice. And
Yeah.
so just CSA then.
Yeah, so I'm just teaching CSA. We have some theater courses, intro with blocks, which we're phasing out. More kids are seeing that in the middle schools. Um, we have a Python course, a little web development we built in. Um, and then depending on how well the students are doing, how they're feeling comfortable, maybe they'll take CSA their junior year and then do an AI course their senior year. We just started that this year. And then if kids need like an extra year to buff up after Python, they'll do principles first, and then they could take CSA.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So this is like a fairly big school then.
Oh
60
yeah, we're over
CSA.
yeah, we're over 3,000 students. And then,
That's
we're trying to branch out and get more students in the computer science program. We're gonna have some bilingual computer science courses next semester.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's gonna
What
be pretty cool.
what bilingual languages? Because that
I'm going to teach with a Spanish speaking teacher from the language department, trying to also build just more hype around the program and also just more like teachers that are engaged in it. So the teacher will learn a little CS, students will learn a lot. I'll practice my Spanish some more.
nice.
And then we have another teacher who's going to teach bilingual Chinese coding class as well.
That's really cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I mean there's neat stuff that you can do when you have like enough students in one school. Because like what happens at a smaller school, right, is like there wouldn't be enough students to run that class. You wouldn't be able to make the scheduling work.
100%. And I'm probably going to get some of my students from CSA to be student ambassadors and teach some code
Uh,
as well and like help out.
this is
So
good stuff.
building that community. Yeah.
Nice, nice, cool. So how did you feel the exam's over? So I mean, we were talking. My YouTube video was immensely influential inside your classroom, which that's this YouTube channel does a lot. But exams over. So how is everybody feeling? Are you guys doing fun stuff now, or like what's going on?
Yeah. So I'm not giving them any days off because I know we'll lose the momentum. So we're already going over the exam. Um, we built like GitHub profiles. I'm trying to teach them a little bit on how to uh, build like a digital portfolio now. Looking at the AP questions, none of them are like freaking out. Day of the exam, they didn't come to me saying that they didn't know any topics or there was a much, curveball. So I felt like I could go home happy that day. And now we're just chipping away, and then we're gonna do some like physical computing. We have these bench robots ready to
Oh,
go.
sweet, cool.
We're gonna do a little 3D modeling project with them and add a little attachment to go in there, and then code the sensors and do something fun with those.
Yeah,
Um, so, we're just trying to keep busy, level up a little bit and, not waste time.
that's cool. Do you guys do the thing where the seniors leave early, or is that just a Massachusetts thing?
No, they're in it.
It was so weird because in my school, like the last day of school for everybody was like June 15th or something. But seniors, almost all the CSA kids were seniors and they got to leave like a month early.
Wow.
So
I
it
mean,
was
some of them mentally left already, but
well,
physically they're
sure,
here. Yeah.
yeah. No, but they physically were out of the building. So I don't know. That's a thing in I think almost all Massachusetts schools. And so yeah, it's just like I was sitting there with like two kids and it's like I get the school somehow had free Code Academy subscriptions. So after the AP exam, they went and learned Python or HTML or something like that. So shout out to Code Academy for teaching a couple kids some random stuff. That's cool. So then, So then GitHub profiles, that's kind of interesting. So one thing, plug for a Pickcode feature, they can download their work from their assignments. I don't know if you've seen that button yet for them.
No,
Um,
I don't think I've seen that.
so like if they're on they can go into any of the lessons that they've done, and there's a like download a zip file button up there.
Hmm,
So it could be cool. I mean, depending on like how proud they are of the different, if it was like some open-ended thing, they could go on to one of those and download the zip file and then
just send it out.
pop that into GitHub. That'd be kind of
Yeah,
cool.
cool. We've been doing like nasty copy paste jobs on our work and then just not installing Git on the machines and going through all that for now, but just
Sure.
like
Yeah.
the old copy paste and just understanding what commits are and
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean,
such. Yeah, just
that's
dipping
a
the
good
toes
skill.
in.
It's a good skill to learn. I mean,
Yeah.
some people do their CSA classes on GitHub code spaces, which that seems like too much to me. I mean, that's kind of part of why we do pick code, right? It's like you don't like after the exam, teaching like more like real world skills, I think is cool. Because like obviously, if any of these students are going to go on to do stuff in industry or in
Right.
real life or make a company or something, they're going to need to know how to use GitHub. But to write your first five print lines, you don't need to really know how to git commit and pull and push and whatever.
Yeah.
So, um, nice. Well, so how did it go with Pickcode this year? You were one of our early adopters, and I really appreciate it. This fall it was actually pretty fun. You're one of the few people outside of Massachusetts that I've met in person, because you invited me to that CSTA event. So thanks
Yeah,
again.
that was great.
That was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about Pickcode over the summer through like a Hunter program communications.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Mike Zemansky
Yeah,
vouched,
yeah, yeah.
not for the product because he didn't know it, but for you. So then that's more or less what I needed to hear to give it a shot. And then tried it out. It was easy to just start getting assignments in there. Um, Appreciated like being able to add README files just to give clear instructions to the students. Um, it's kind of like what I was doing in the past when I was actually using GitHub as like a
Okay,
big
yeah.
way of getting work and collecting. And then it was just too much for the students, and they weren't even using their machines at home much. Um, Maybe it was a Chromebook or, even just an iPad at home. They weren't able to do all the coding, that I was hoping they were going to be able to do. So it became more of a barrier. So here it was like easy, just push out all the work to the kids quick. I was able to, hop into their work at any moment, easy to get on the board, share out. It was just an easy facilitator of, you know, getting class running at the bell, you know, really convenient.
So if you had to estimate, because I kind of say this anecdotally, I say that my goal in life is to save computer science teachers 5 to 10 minutes. What would your estimate be on time saved per class period? Would it be like 3 minutes?
Oh,
'Cause that might be more realistic, or is it 7 minutes, or where would you guesstimate?
I mean, easily 5 to 10. The kids are grabbing their laptops out of the cart real fast. They they're in. They're using their Google email. It's just running, instantaneously. There's not 100 clicks. It's just really seamless. Um, and when they're in Pickcode, it's just right there. There's not a whole lot of menus on the side and where do I go for this? They know if it's a lesson, go into lessons. If it was something more independent practice, go to your, sandbox, open it up, and maybe pass it into me in a Google form or something. I've been doing some like AI feedback with students, taking code out of Pickcode, dropping it into a Google form,
Oh,
and then I
cool.
kind of like train a Claude or ChatGPT coding model to give some feedback off of a rubric.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so it's really quick and easy.
Nice. Cool, cool. Well, so that's some kind words. I kind of forget because the years now we're close to the end, the years kind of blurred on. There highs and lows, were there any because we're always looking for ways to improve. Were there any because some people run into some fun bugs or interesting bugs or upsetting bugs. I don't know. What do you anything that pops out for you?
I mean, at first when I reached out to you, I think it was like November. I was hoping to see like processing, as part of the
Oh yeah, yeah.
as an option. And then I think like, you estimated like a month to get it in there, and it was like 2 weeks. So it kind of coincided. We were trying to build up a fun um, like computer science ed week activity for the
Oh yeah,
students.
yeah.
And we usually use some like visual, processing or P5. Um, so I was hoping to see that, and then it was up and running in like no time. And then we were able to do some projects that I had given up on, like Game of Life, for 2D arrays.
Okay,
I,
cool.
I did that maybe 3 years ago, coming back from COVID. Um, Bailed out on it, and then because processing was just, not a big hassle of collecting their work in different ways. Um, I was able to, launch that project again this year for the first time in a little while.
Nice. And so
Yeah.
it worked because like the graphics thing was kind of it was marked as beta for what it's worth.
Yeah. I mean, it was slow, and then I almost didn't go in all the way. And then within the next maybe month or two, you kind of, got the compile time and the runtime to be faster. So then it became more of a usable tool
Yeah.
in the classroom. At first, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to have the kids sit through 30-second compile just to see the circles a little bit off.
Yeah, yeah.
And then in a little bit of time after that, it was smooth now to the point where we ran Game of Life, and they could just test and fix their bugs
Yeah.
seamlessly.
We had a lot of bugs with the graphics stuff, but I think by around like January or so we were feeling better, but like like September, October, it was a little bit touch and go there. But from kind feedback from teachers like yourself and patients from everybody, we were able to get it done. So
And I kept my students in the loop with like our backdoor combos. Like
yeah,
they know
yeah,
they know you by name. They're
that's
like
cool. That's cool.
hopeful
Yeah.
that you come like maybe zoom in and like the whole in a way business end of what you do kind of fascinates some of my students, like you know taking your knowledge of code and then turning into a product that's helping other people learn code has been inspiring to my students. Even just the communication that we've had
Yeah, yeah.
serves as like a great model for like them as they might think about using code in their future and maybe having their own businesses.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, for what it's worth, I mean, this is separate from this YouTube video, but if you need me to come in or, you're looking,
yeah,
it sounds like you got a nice busy schedule after the AP exam, but if you want to spend a
yeah.
day,
My
I'm
kids
happy to
are.
come
I have
in.
like a few kids in my mind right now that would be super excited.
Yeah, let's do it. We should definitely
Yeah, cool,
schedule that. I'd be happy to do that.
cool.
It'd be in the Boston area. I do drive the Toyota, the trusty Toyota Corolla. It makes its way out to several random Massachusetts schools, but I won't drive to New York City to
I
get
don't
that
blame
done.
you.
But uh, yeah, no, but Zoom, that'd be fun. We should definitely do that. Um, cool. So other thoughts? I mean, so hopefully you'll be using Pickcode again, no pressure, but what are you looking for? What should we add? What can we improve? Because there's always stuff, and sometimes people ask, and then I'm like, oh, actually it already does that. You couldn't find the button.
Yeah, I'm opening up Pickcode right now just to like see. I think you guys already like improved on sort of the organization of like, projects and, sort of the menu and how I see my projects and, sharing out to different classes. Um, Let me see for a second. Like the ability to archive is awesome just to get it out and, declutter. Um, I don't know, there's not too much I could think of. Um, Maybe just for the processing to not like have a copy paste of, that startup code and just
Yeah,
to
that's
be
a
more
good
of a
point.
default there.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, having some sort of template system would be good. Yeah, because you had to add, in order to figure that out, you sent me some old Replit project and I had to like
Right. Yeah.
reverse
Yeah.
engineer how it worked. Yeah, it'd be nice to add the template for that. Did you ever use the CS Awesome like turtle thing?
No.
Okay. Well, there's another popular kind of project that folks will run off that you've probably heard of the CS Awesome kind of online
Yeah.
thing.
100%.
They have some classes to do like, turtle drawings with that, little guy
Yeah.
moving around. And we should have a template for that too. So I should write that down. That's a good idea. Yeah, because processing is super underrated.
Oh yeah. The community behind that
Yeah,
whole
so
organization is awesome.
yeah,
Someone from processing came and visited my classroom like a month or two ago because
oh sweet.
some kind of like art installation at one of the local art museums. Um, so it's just awesome. I love the community behind that group, and I try to get my kids involved, community days and whatever. So to have it in Pickcode is just great for the kids.
Yeah, but you do have to copy paste this
Yeah.
random kind of janky
Yeah.
main dot load sketch dot Java. Yeah, it's a little bizarre, but at least it does work. For a couple seconds, you asked me for it, and I looked at the documentation. I was like, "Oh, there's no way," but we figured it out, so that's good. And I do appreciate the great thing is getting suggestions like that because now when teachers are like, "Oh, what cool graphics things can I do with my students after the AP exam?" I can say, "Oh, well, we actually now support processing." Like it didn't occur to me that I think that the processing Java version was the original. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now most people use the JavaScript version.
Right. Just because it's online, easy to
Yeah.
just, do all that.
But but there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to support the Java version. And so many, like a lot of the students know Java because they took the CSA
Right,
exams.
100%. Add some more creativity to the curriculum. It
Yeah,
doesn't always have to be just some console output. It
I
could be
know
something
that's the
creative.
tough thing with CSAs. It's just kind of like I taught it for 1 year exactly, but like during that process, there was not a whole lot of creativity going along in my classroom because I should have thought to do processing honestly, but I did not. And so it was a lot of print statements and a lot of does this thing return the number six or whatever? So yeah, not the most exciting, but
Yeah, might have some kids do a refresh of the AP exam questions with some processing. Like number four was about random numbers 1 through 9 in a 2D array.
oh, cool.
Maybe they could visualize that on,
Yeah,
the
you could
code
draw like
processing.
darker
Yeah,
squares
exactly.
and lighter
Different
squares or
shades.
something. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, like I mean, I was saying this to someone else the other day. Like I think of coding class, like an ideal programming class should be closer to art class than math class. It's kind of like the thing that I like to say because it's just so much more fun to when you get the opportunity to be creative with it. CSA is tough just because there's so much to learn. There isn't like a ton of time to be like, hey, let's take a month and do a project where we get to express ourselves. But yeah, taking this time after the exam to do some of that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. 100%.
Nice. Well, I know that it's after school and it's afternoon and everybody's got to go drink a Diet Coke or a coffee or something. Do you have any parting thoughts or anything? It's always good to be able to connect and chat.
Yeah, 100%. I think everyone should give it a chance. You'll probably, not look back and, you'll appreciate all the little things that separate Pickcode from, the other offerings out there. One thing I love the most is, I'm not using an out of the box curriculum. I never have used that, like, I pick and choose from maybe different, published curricula out there, but I like to build a lot of what the students are interested in. We did a whole thing on like kids were chirping about Michael Jordan versus LeBron, who's better. And I don't hear a whole lot of sports in class anymore. So my ears perked up and then we did a whole arrays project with a comparison between LeBron and MJ. And I mean, if I didn't have pick code, I don't think I would be able to, facilitate that as easy as it went. Um, you know, so go for it. Give it a shot.
That's heartwarming though. No, because for real, I mean that's what we are trying to do by giving teachers the flexibility. I mean it's kind of a double-edged sword because if you're brand new and you don't have anything, in some regards, Pickcode, it's a little bit too bad that we don't have any resources. But the fact that we give you the tools to build it, no, that's an awesome
Yeah,
story. Like it's
yeah,
just great to be able to like react like that. And the fact that you're doing that as a teacher is so cool, like for the students. Um, so no, I love that idea. And just like overall being able to do that. So anyways, well, thanks for taking the time now, and then
absolutely.
I'll stop recording and then I'll say thanks again and we'll go on our merry way.
All right. Bye,
Cool.
bro.
All right.